The subject is principle of auditing and today's lecture is on internal control. Topic to be discussed in today's lecture are principle of internal controls, review and reliance on internal control, system of internal control, use of other records, method of evaluating internal control, management letter or letter of weaknesses. What are principle of internal control? Let's discuss one by one. The financial and accounting operation must be separated. The handling of cash and recording of the cash should be done by different person. Responsibility for performing of job must be clearly stated so that there may be no room for doubt or confusion in subsequent period. Too much confidence should not be on one individual. Nearly all frauds have been committed by trusted officials or employees. It is interesting to note that fraud have occurred by the person being highly trusted. So too much trust should not be on one person. Job rotation. Rotation principle relative to transfer of an employee from one job to another should be inflexible guiding rules. This is an effective protection against collusion and is recognized as an important law of sound organizations. State of the art technology must be installed. Computerizations of cash register, recording of for example, having a biometric system for the employees, system of control should also be computerized. Segregation of duty is another principle of internal control. The work should be so arranged that work done by one employee should be promptly checked by another independent employee. Such continuous and constant checking goods moral control and error and fraud cannot be committed in case of segregation of duty. Arrangement of the work should be in such a manner that written record of the part played by each employee should be maintained, and the work should pass through several hands in a well-defined manner. Past records should also be maintained with several copies. Clear guidelines for handling in inventory, handling cash in inventory should be properly documented. Excuse me. Employees, although it is not mandatory, but employees must be in bond so that any employees must be deterred from committing fraud and an employer be protected. Review on internal review and reliance on internal control. The external auditor, before starting an audit, should review the system of internal control and consider the following guidelines. First, he should examine the weaknesses of the system. Loopholes should be pinpointed. He should perform a test check during the conduct of audit that whether proper control are applied or just it is in a written document. Determine the extent of work on effectiveness of internal control. Effectiveness means test with the intention that whatever exists in paper did exist in a practice or not. Effective control. Effective control of the organization save time, reduce cost of the audit, and reduce also the extent of work done by external auditors. The external auditor should obtain a statement in writing about the detail of internal control in practices. Now question arises that how much external auditor should rely on internal control or internal audit department. The answer is not straight away. It depends on particular case, that what is the scope of the audit being conducted, what are the skills of internal auditor or internal audit staff, what is the experience of internal audit staff, and finally it is external auditor judgment about the internal control and internal department. Then after his judgment he may decide that how much he should rely on internal control system or internal audit department works. System of internal control. We will discuss system of internal control with respect to small firms and large manufacturing firms. First of all, system of internal control about correspondence. All incoming talk or letters should be opened by responsible official. Then it should be handed over to the concerned person with the envelope attached to it. Remittances and deposits. All remittances in the form of check, draft should be crossed and marked account P only and deposited into the bank in next day. Payment authorizations. Internal control for payment authorizations, that all payment should be sanctioned by responsible officials. And check should be properly signed by authorized signatory, which the specimen of these signature must be with the bank. Internal control for wages and salaries. Wages and salary sheet book should be maintained. It should be clearly checked and payment made in the presence of person knowing to the organization. This is basically will reduce the ghost employee. Sometimes there is on the payroll an employees exist, but actually he is working somewhere else. So this internal control will reduce the ghost employee in small firms. Goods and inventories. Internal control for goods and inventories. A complete record of all goods received and sent out should be maintained, and physical count be carried out at a regular interval. System of internal control for large organizations. Access to ledger. The cashier should have no access to the ledger, and the ledger keeper should not maintain the book of original entries such as cash book. Similarly, in accounting, in computerized accounting, the person who have a login to the ledger must be stay away from the login to the book of original entry, who are the person who is going to book or record a cash. Correspondence. Internal control for correspondence is that all correspondence received should be daily opened by responsible official, and then it will be provided or it will be delivered to the concerned persons. Remittances and deposit, it is same as in the small organization. All remittances received in the form of check, draft, etc. should be crossed mark account payee only, mean the check should be crossed and entered into the cash diary and handed over to the cashier. Now, printed form. This is one of the internal control. Official printed pre-numbered forms should be used for issue of receipts and signed by responsible official. Unused stock of receipt book should be kept under locked. Cash sale. Cash sale should be properly supervised. Payment authorizations. Internal control from payment authorization. If possible, all payments should be made by cross-check and mark account P only. Wages and salary. Payment of wages should be carefully supervised in order to avoid payment to the ghost employees. Petty cash is for daily expenses. Petty cash should be kept and should be properly supervised by the manager finance. Internal control for the purchases. Purchases should be subject to proper control and all inward invoices should be checked. Proper order should be taken and proper good receipt should be issued when the purchases have been received. For payment, there should be a proper signatories who pay against these purchases. Credit notes for returns, allowances and bad debt written off should be authorized by responsible officials. Bad debt is basically the amount uncollectible to the company. Statement of account rendered to the customer should be examined by responsible official who should also attend to the overdue accounts. Means aging analysis of the account receivable should be made, that how much are outstanding from 3 months, how much outstanding are from 6 months, and how much are outstanding from 9 months. Control account is basically it is the account that have a subsidiary ledger. So the total of control account and the total of subsidiary ledger should be matched, but this internal control is not performed by accounting system. Stock and stores, periodical physical counting should be carried out by a responsible official, and this physical counting should be done by different person, and the person who are recording the stock and stores should not have a duty of physical counting. System of internal control for large firms. Cash receipts, the following for receipt book. There should be a sound internal check for the receipt book. Unused books should be kept under lock and key. All receipts should be consecutively pre-numbered. The issue and custody of cash receipts should be under the control of responsible official. Original of all spoiled and cancelled receipts should be retained and countersigned by the person authorized. Acknowledgement of recipient of receipt book should be obtained so that could held accountable for wrong utilization of their receipt book. Second is acknowledgement and cash receipts. For every amount received, official receipt must be issued, and the company gave acknowledgement to the outside parties. Remittances received. All correspondence received must be opened by a responsible person. All remittances received must be crossed account pay only, entered in daily cash diary, and then handed over to the cashier or bank, a deposit in a bank. All collection of check or cash be internally checked and then deposited into the bank. in the next day. The amount should then be traced into the bank statement. All outstanding collection should be thoroughly scrutinized, and steps should be taken to obtain a credit for the same. Collection of overdue balances should be attendant. No access to ledger. In cash receipts, the cashier should not be allowed to have any access or to the general ledger. Teaming and lading. This is one of the terminologies used when the cash is received from one customer and the cashier used that amount for his personal use or invested somewhere else. Then the cash received from other persons or other customer is allocated to the first one, and then the cash received from the third person allocated to the second. In this way, he used his money, his organization money for a month or two for their personal benefit. So how to stop teaming and lading? First of all, the amount recorded as having been received should be checked with the corresponding amount mentioned in the statement of account received from each debtors. The debtor should be requested to give cross-check marked account pay only. All remittances received in the form of check draft must be crossed and make account pay only after they have been received. The pay in slip be carefully checked with the amount shown on the counterfoil or carbon copy of the receipts. Physical count surprise inspection of the physical count of the case should be done by supervisor. And the last one is segregation. All collection must be recorded separately. Means there are 5 parties, let's suppose, then 5 checks should be recorded separately. No single entry should be passed and no single voucher should be issued. So all should be received and record with the separate 5 vouchers and 5 receipt of acknowledgement should be issued. Cash payment. What should be the internal control for the cash payment? As far as possible, payment must be made by cross-check account pay only, and official receipt should be obtained from the supplier. Authorizations. All payment should be authorized by responsible official is appointed by the management. Proper verification should be done before payment is made. All payment of a special letter should be approved by the bank. There should be 2 signatories that sign the check in order to avoid any embezzlement. Recording. All payment should be promptly recorded in a cash book vouchers. All supporting voucher of payment should be serially numbered and filed in order to facilitate subsequent checking of the auditor. Oftenly, cash payment vouchers have a different color than the cash receipts vouchers. Accuracy. All amount in the cash book should be checked that they are properly recorded or not. And finally, this is one of the control mechanisms in internal control that bank reconciliation statement are made. This is basically that one balance is with the company and there is another balance of cash with the bank. So they reconciles bank statement with their own ledgers. It's called bank reconciliation statement. It gave you if the cash have been embezzled will promptly be highlighted. Petty cash vouchers should be prepared and checked for all payment, which should be authorized by responsible official. The voucher should also be filed in serial number to facilitate subsequent checking by the auditor. Allocation before authorizing payment, allocation should be checked carefully and all vouchers should then be entered promptly in a petty cash book. Reimbursement, periodical reimbursement of all payments should be claimed and shortfall in any case should be reconciled. Cash count, cash in hand should be physically counted on surprise basis by the supervisor. Miscellaneous receipts, no miscellaneous receipt should be come into petty cash account but should be deposited in a bank. Purchases, initiation of purchases in those person. There should be established limit for order level, minimum level and maximum level of store and stock to serve as a basis on which the storekeeper should send material purchase requisition to enable the purchase department to initiate the purchases. Second is purchases and quotation. Quotation and tender should be given, advertisement should be given about these two thing in a newspaper in order to ascertain a seller. The guiding factor should be to buy the most economic prices. Placing an order. In order for the purchase should be then sanctioned, asking the buyer to supply goods within a time limit. All copies of the purchase order should be consecutive number and filed. These should be then entered into a purchase order register. Receipts of goods. All goods received should be physically checked, counted, and are weighed. And the document called Good Received Note (GRN) should be issued for each of the for each delivery of goods. The storekeeper will receive the good after good received note have been issued. A copy of thereof should be sent to the account department. All goods requiring analysis be analyzed by quality control department at the time of receipt of good. Invoice, the invoice should be internally checked before payment. C, the date of invoice falls in the year under review. The quantity and description of goods should be checked on invoice with the purchase order and good received note to ensure that all quantities ordered and invoiced have been received. Any discrepancies should be investigated. Allocation, the rate should be verified. The rate should be verified on the invoice. A rubber stamp should be affixed indicating the checking work done on each invoice and should be signed by the staff member who performing or making the invoice. All vouchers, allocation, all vouchers with invoices should be serially numbered in file to facilitate a subsequent checking by the auditor. The allocation of expenditure should be verified as well. Payment against purchases. The payment of invoices should be passed by responsible official who should satisfy himself the quantity, description of good, purchase order have been received, rate have been verified with the contract, and rubber stamp. Then he should pass the entry in the system. Good returns. All goods returned to supplier should be recorded on good return note, copy of which should be forwarded to the account sections. Credit note should be obtained from supplier and amount adjusted in the note. Recording in a system. All entries should be promptly recorded in accounting system, either it is manual or computerized. Sales. Order received. Internal control for the sales is first. Order received. An attempt must be made to obtain order in writing. Confirmation in writing should be obtained in respect of verbal order. All order received should be entered in an order received book. Then execution of order. The order should be then satisfied within the desired time and marked from the order received notebook. Invoice. Number of copies of invoice should be prepared and internally checked. In case of contract sales, original contract should be studied and the basis of billing should be verified. Apart from this, a responsible official should mark the rate at which the goods are to be invoiced. Dispatch of goods. Dispatch of goods. All goods dispatched should be recorded in good dispatch register. All quantities shown on sale invoices should be traced. Should be recorded in the accounting system. Then receipt of money. Collection of money against the credit should be kept, and such system should be installed whereby recoveries of amount are being made regularly. Goods returns are sales returned to the companies. Goods returned by the customer should be entered in a goods inward book or an accounting system, and credit note should be passed by responsible official and prepared in a duplicate for each return of good or allowances. The one copy should be sent to the account department. Sales book. This is now computerized. Entry should be promptly recorded in a sale book and all sale invoices should be serially arranged to facilitate their subsequent checking by the auditor. Access to ledgers. The internal control for the sale is that the person making the sale should nothing to do with the office where sale ledgers are posted up, nor with the cashier office where the check-in payment of the customer accounts are received. If it is not in place, this internal control, there is a chances of collusion between the employees. And fake sale should be recorded and fake payment should be received by these employees. Online sales. Courier registered should be kept for recording of particular good and sent by the post. All cases against which the case is received should be marked up. Consignment not paid for should be periodically reviewed and effort made to settle the cases. Cash received, all amount received should be entered into the cash book promptly. Courier return should be should also be recorded in the system. Sales over the counter. Segregation of duties. Work of selling goods and receiving cash should be done by two different persons. This is first internal control on the OTC sale, over the counter sale. Cash memo preparations. Salesman should prepare a cash memo, give the original to the customers and retain carbon copy or any system copy. He should send goods to a cashier and request the customer to approach the cashier counter, pay the money and take the delivery. All cash memos should be serially numbered. So the person who are making a cash memo should be a separate person than the person who are receiving a cash. Cashier record. The cashier should mark the stamp paid. Cashier should stamp the cash memo or the receipts with the stamp on whom written is paid and date should be placed on it. Collect the money and give delivery of the goods. At the end of the day, he should tally the total cash received with total sold by the salesman. Cash book. The amount should then be entered into a cash book and banked. Computerized inventory system will reduce and enhance internal control over the counter sale. Stores. Internal control for the store or ordering level is the first control. The quantity of minimum, maximum and ordering limit should be fixed for each kind of material. When an ordering level of particular material is reached, the storekeeper should advise the buying department by means of purchase requisitions. Placing an order. The official order from the proper section of purchases should be sent to the supplier in respect of all material required. A copy of this should be sent to the storekeeper. Receipts of material. The material should be checked by the storekeeper with a copy of purchase order and a report on the quality should also be sent to the buying department. Storing of material. All material should be placed in appropriate racks, bins or cupboards by the storekeeper. The quantity should be entered in cards attached to each rack, a bin, etc. to provide perpetual recording material received and issued. It is basically nowadays proper accounting software or inventory management system who make it easier for the storekeeper to manage the inventory. Storing record of material. Storekeeper report together with invoices relating to the material should be passed by buying department to the cost office. The invoices should be posted to the debit of accounts in a store ledger, a separate account being kept for each class of material held. The entry in the store ledger may be in quantities and values. Payment of material. All invoices for material purchased should be carefully checked before they are authorized by responsible official for the payment. Issue of material. Material for use in production should be issued by storekeeper only on the authority of material requisition signed by the responsible person. Return return of material. There should be a rule that any material issued which are found to be surplus in a particular job should be returned to the store and not transferred to any other job. Particular of material return should be entered in a store debit note, copy of which should be supplied to the cost office. Charging for material. Basically, the store issues the material to manufacturing department where cost of each item are calculated. So the cost office should price out the requisition and store return note and post the quantity and value of material issued and returned to the appropriate store ledger account and also to the production order concerns. So the final internal control is periodical checking of material. Balance shown on the store register and physical counting, in physical existence of the inventory should be checked from time to time with the balances on relative card. It also be important that the balances on the store's ledger should be tested with the physical stock as frequently is possible for the management and the time they can afford. Means physical counting and record should be reconciled at certain frequency of time. Other record should be used by for the analysis is such as gross profit margin compared with the previous year. If there is any abnormal increase in any of the month, it should be investigated. There is always a standard cost for any items. For example, how much direct labor will be used, how much direct cost should be used, direct labor should be used, how much direct material should be used, how much factory overhead will come. So this standard costing should be matched with the actual cost. Any deviation out of tolerance relevant range should be investigated. Return on capital should be compared with the peer companies. Net profit percentage compared with the past year or other companies. If there is any abnormal deviation, it should be investigated. Evaluation of internal control. There are 4 methods to evaluate internal control. One is overall approach. Overall discussion is held to identify strengths and weaknesses of the internal control. Second is memorandum approach. Memorandum approach means full note are taken during discussion with the governing bodies on the evaluation of internal control. Analysis of weaknesses is undertaking. Its suggestions are offered through management letter for improvement. Internal control questionnaires. Internal control questionnaire consists of a question in respect of each element of the internal control. Answer should be based on yes or no. This is internal control questionnaires is basically designed to evaluate the internal strength and weaknesses of internal control. Flowchart of each business activity are reviewed and internal control are evaluated. Management letter. After evaluation of internal control, management letters are issued by the external auditors. This management letter is also called letter of weaknesses in the internal control. There is no specific format of a management letter. The objectives are to identify weaknesses in internal control, to suggest sufficient accounting control that would work or that would mitigate these weaknesses, to suggest improvement in internal control. This is all about today's lecture. Thank you.